Welcome to another edition of Journey of Hope. Interviews with people that have gone through some kind of traumatic injury, faced an illness. And the people we interview are people that are not only survivors, but they're thrivers. Our special guests today are from Canada, British Columbia. Christine and her daughter, Kayleen. We're going to get better acquainted with them. They got a fascinating story to share. Christine and Kayleen, we're glad to have you here. There are people from all around the world that are watching this program. And some of those people have just been given some sobering news that something's happened to them. And we want to learn a little bit about you. Before we talk about your illness and your diagnosis here, tell us a little bit where you're from.
I'm from British Columbia, Canada.
Okay.
Beautiful part of the world. And I live in Prince George.
Okay.
That's northern BC. Good winter time right now. Beautiful area.
Now, how long, where were you born?
I was born in Quesnel, BC.
And where's that?
That is in the interior of BC as well, about an hour from where I live right now.
Okay.
Yes.
So you're in Prince George, and how far north of Vancouver is that?
That's about a 10-hour drive.
10-hour drive, okay.
Yes, yes. Right. And you go through a canyon, and you get to see the most beautiful parts of the world.
I've been in British. It's absolutely gorgeous. All right, Kayleen, where you were originally from, up where she was from, apparently?
Yes, near there. I grew up in a little town called 100 Mile that's kind of between where she's living now and where I'm living now.
100 miles?
100 Mile House, yes.
Must be a marker on the road or something.
It's 100 miles from where the Gold Rush Trail had started.
Oh,
yes,
okay.
Kind of where it
And so what kind of, where'd you go to school?
I went to, well, gosh, I started in Forest Grove.
100 Mile House Elementary.
Well, yeah, I guess I started out there. And that was
and then went to high school there as well.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
great. And now you're living where?
I live in Mission, British Columbia, which is about an hour away from Vancouver.
Okay, is that north?
I do believe it is...
North of
Yeah, it is north of Vancouver.
Okay,
yeah.
Good.
When I moved to the country, she moved to the city.
Well, I thought all British Columbia was country.
No, we actually have a city.
Yeah. So 100 Mile. Now, where are you now?
I'm in Prince George,
You're in
just
Prince
north
George.
of that.
How big was 100 Mile?
100 Mile House was a fairly small town. We had 2 traffic lights.
Oh, 2 traffic
Yes,
lights.
yes. So not a very big town. And I wanted to raise my children in a nice country environment, same as what I grew up in. You know, it's nice growing up in a small town where
how many children
knows.
do you have?
I have 3.
3.
Yes.
And any grandchildren?
I do. My 2 boys got married to 2 beautiful ladies, and my one son, him and his wife have 2 boys, and my other son, who lives in Prince George as well, one of the reasons why I went there. He has 3 beautiful daughters.
Oh, my.
And so I have 5 grandchildren and a reason to live.
Oh, that is marvelous.
Yes.
So, now, you've been in Canada all of your life then, been in British Columbia all of your life, and how's your health been overall?
My health overall has been good in my point of view.
Sure.
I've been through a lot. I was diagnosed with cervical cancer, uterine cancer, when I was 29.
A few years ago, I'll just say, give you the benefit of the doubt, 10 or more years ago.
Yeah,
that's
it.
All right. So you had, it was uterine cancer.
Yeah, so I had my uterus and my ovaries taken out at that point in time. After that...
Did you have anything beyond the surgery?
No. We caught that cancer in time.
Wonderful.
I had no chemotherapy, no radiation. I had the best treatment possible.
And how long did you struggle with that before everything was taken care of? I mean, a few months?
2 years.
2 years, okay.
Yeah.
2 years.
I went through some back surgeries.
So now, were you in the home at this point? When she had the first time around?
Yeah, I guess so.
She was only 3.
I don't remember most of it.
I don't remember anything about it.
I was pretty young at that point.
Yeah.
You were wanting everything focused on you instead of on your mom.
Yeah, I was the center of attention at that point.
So that was the first experience you had with cancer. Now, did any of your family members have cancer?
My grandparents both had cancer.
Do you remember what kind?
My grandfather had prostate cancer.
Okay.
My grandmother, I lost at the age of 47. She had breast cancer.
Okay.
And back then, treatments weren't as good as they are
Right.
nowadays.
Pretty kind of primitive.
Yeah,
They were doing the best they
exactly.
could at that point.
So when I found out that, again, I had cancer and I was 47, my parents got pretty scared.
Sure.
My mom was very worried because she was Kayleen's age when she lost her mom. And so it was kind of a playback for her. But I told her I was going to get the best care possible and I wasn't going to pass away. My cancer that I have now is called a chordoma. And chordoma,
Now, the first time you had the cancer, how old were you?
I was 29.
29, okay. So your mother went through that with you.
Absolutely.
Okay, now years later you have it again, only this time you have a special kind of cancer.
I'm very rare.
You're rare. I knew you were rare, but and you knew she was rare.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But now tell us what kind of a cancer you're talking about.
I have a chordoma.
Okay, and what is a chordoma?
Chordoma is a tumor that can grow anywhere along your spine,
Anywhere, from the top to bottom.
anywhere from the top to bottom.
Okay.
I have met people with the chordomas in their lower backs. I've met people with chordomas in their neck, in the C-spine. And mine happened to grow on the very top of my spine, called a clivus. And it's located right behind my throat. So my tumor grew against the wall of my brain and at the top, just behind my throat. So I could feel it.
So what kind, you're talking about something that's very rare. How many people have chordomas?
1 in a million.
Well, I knew you were special.
300 cases a year worldwide.
Wow.
So it is very rare. It is
Okay.
very rare. When I first was diagnosed, everyone right away will go to the internet and they're going to want to know about their cancer.
So now, you're up in British Columbia. Is that where they diagnosed this?
Prince George,
In Prince George.
yes.
It's amazing they were able to diagnose it if it's such a rare thing.
And it was surprising when I saw it on the paperwork after my CT scan, and they said that it was most likely chordoma. And a lot of people with chordoma are misdiagnosed because it's so rare. And so I didn't want to believe it at first.
So you read up about the chordoma when you saw that it might be a chordoma?
I did.
And what kind of information were you finding?
That first paragraph says life expectancy 7 to 9 years.
That's the first paragraph.
That's the first paragraph.
First thing you saw
That's the first thing.
when you're trying to do your
Absolutely,
research, okay?
absolutely.
How did that hit you?
That hit me hard. I sat in my car and I cried and I screamed, Lord,
Were you by yourself?
why me?
Were you by yourself?
I was. And you go through those
And this time you're
stages.
living down south.
Yes.
Okay, so she doesn't really know about it yet. Okay. So you're in the car, you're crying and screaming and what?
Why me?
Yeah, why me?
Lord, why me? And you just have to, I guess, accept. But you do go through those stages of anger, denial. Because at
Particularly denial,
first,
yeah.
I couldn't imagine myself with a rare,
This couldn't be me. This must be a misdiagnosis.
has to be.
Yeah,
Has to
I don't have that many symptoms. What kind of symptoms were you having?
I was having some headaches and some sinus problems, earaches,
But that can easily be misdiagnosed.
allergies. I was taking allergy medication.
Trying to get rid of the symptoms.
Exactly, exactly. I was covering up my symptoms.
Yeah.
And we went for an MRI after the CT scan to confirm. A chordoma, they will not say for sure it's a chordoma until the tumor is removed
And
and they
do
can
the pathology,
biopsy it.
yeah.
They can do the pathology on it. And so I had accepted it as a chordoma. I knew after a while that it was. I
You-
just
you
knew
just-
it in
you
my
knew
heart
it.
of hearts. It was. And we had our surgery October 10th
In British Columbia.
in British Columbia, Vancouver,
Okay.
just a little ways from Kaylin.
Okay.
My entire family was there.
Everybody came in.
Everybody.
Now, what was their prospects of the surgery? I mean, was there kind of a frightening prospect of even the surgery?
They say 10% of those people don't come off the table.
1 out of 10.
They're going to pass away.
So you knew you were one of the other 9.
I knew I was. There's a
Now, so how is
possibility
this? How's the family being affected by all this?
Oh gosh, I guess it was kind of a shock and a bit of a wake-up call that, you know, it can happen to anybody. I mean, nobody...
Now, you've been away from your mother for a few years at this point.
Yeah.
Been on your own.
Yeah, and being so far away from her when she told me, it was really hard not being able to be there with her.
First of all, it's out of sight, out of mind, but now all of a sudden she's up there and I'm down here.
Yeah, you feel a little helpless.
Kind of helpless, out of control.
Yep.
And
Yeah, there was a lot of emotions that I went through, you know, the same thing, anger, and, you know, I just maybe this is, you know, not what it is.
Well, a good friend of mine, Rabbi Douglas Cohn, had thyroid cancer, and his was metastatic. He was treated here. And he's the editor of a book called Life, Faith, and Cancer. Brilliant insights by many different Jewish writers. And his chapter is entitled, Why Me?
Right.
I can give you the answer. It's the wrong question. The question isn't why me. The real question is, what now?
Right.
What is going to be my response? I mean, when you hear those words, and I've heard them before, you have cancer. I mean, it's a sobering experience. It's like getting hit with a 2x4.
That's right.
You hear that clock of mortality ticking. You know, all of us know that someday we're not going to be here on Earth, but it's always way, way, way off in the future. But when you hear those words, you have cancer, it's being hit by a 2x4. Then when somebody close to you, you hear about the neighbors and that, you know, sometimes your dear friends, but when it's your mother or somebody in the family, it really drives it home.
It does.
So everybody comes together. They're all in Vancouver. They're all upset. Some are praying, some are crying. So what do they find when they do the operation?
Well, the operation, they say, could take up to 12 hours. And my surgeons came out of there in 7.5.
Speed.
Wonderful.
Quick. Everything must have worked absolutely perfect.
90% of the tumor was removed.
90%.
90%. I was in ICU afterwards, and everyone came in. And when I had the tumor, your face is a little swollen.
That's probably putting it a little mild. It's a little swollen.
She looked like
It's
a
a little
cute little chipmunk.
Yeah, like a chipmunk. She looked like a chipmunk.
It was a little adorable.
All right. Just a little
Thank you.
swollen. But it was a cute chipmunk.
It was.
Yeah.
Chipmunk.
People came into ICU, my family, and they could see the difference right away because my face was shaped different. I looked so much better. And
You mean after the surgery?
after the surgery,
really?
you could tell in
Swelling
my
went
face
down.
all
Oh,
the
you mean
swelling.
she was looking like a chipmunk before the surgery?
Before the surgery, yes.
Oh, I was thinking during the surgery, after the surgery.
Yeah.
Okay, it looked much better after the
Oh, I
surgery.
looked
Oh,
much
great.
better.
So that must have been a relief to some of the family. You know, hey, something's happening here. Good.
Yes.
But what did you think when they got 90%?
I was so excited. The possibilities on that table of things happening to you
Pretty high.
are pretty high. You can have a stroke. There are so many things. You can lose your hearing, your eyesight.
Now, for our listening audience, how did they go through the back of the neck?
They went in, and I was so happy they didn't go in through the back of my head. They went in through my nose.
Through your nose?
Through my nose. So I had an ENT in the room with my surgeon, and they worked on going through my nose with a scope, and they took out all the insides of my nose to do this because the tumor was fairly big.
That's not at the nose, though. It's way in the back. So they're up and going through, all right?
With this lovely little scope of theirs. And they took it out through my nose, and they went into my thigh, and they built my nose back up. And they put a couple of stents in there, and a little swollen in the nose area.
I would never know that that's not the original. Looks good to me. Yeah.
And that's their new way of going in
Is it?
to these tumors.
Something
a lot
new.
of
Yeah.
ways. Yes, absolutely, something new. And I had joined a Chordoma Foundation group.
Really?
There's so few of us that
Right. It's
I
gotta stick
knew I
together.
needed some support.
Sure.
And so I joined this Chordoma Foundation, and I had heard other stories. I had heard of a young lady that had gone into surgery prior to myself, about a month prior, and she had a stroke on the table. So I was really, really scared.
Sure, that's normal.
And when they went in and they took it out, and I come out of ICU, and I was feeling not so great, but I knew that I was alive,
Right.
and I knew I hadn't had a stroke, and I could see and I could hear. And that to me was just
A great sign of encouragement, yeah.
it was the best
Now,
sign.
where was God in all this?
Right next to me, I'll tell you. Because I said my prayers. Like that first day in the car when I found out, I had said to God, why me?
Right.
Why me? I found out on my dad's birthday. My dad passed away.
You mean you were diagnosed and you found out the diagnosis on the day of
on his birthday.
on his birthday?
I lost my dad a year prior. And I talked to my dad a lot. And that day I knew that it was a sign that I found out on his birthday. And I knew he was still with me. God made sure of that. I can tell you that. And I talked to him a lot. And I talked to God a lot. I said my prayers. I said my prayers beforehand. I said my prayers afterwards. Thank you, Lord. I got through this.
You got a lot to be thankful for.
Not just for me, but I worried about those folks around me.
Sure.
My family. Because I knew what I had gone through with my dad and how hard it is on the family. My number one concern was my family.
Your dad died from what?
My dad died from heart disease.
He did.
Yeah. It affected
Now, were
his
you
whole
around
body.
him at the latter part of his life there?
I went through it all with him.
You went through it all with him?
I made sure.
Yeah.
And my brothers as well. I have 3 brothers. We were all there. I have a little sister who's 12. And she was, it's hard on the family.
Oh, it's very, very devastating.
Very hard.
So you've been down here now for a while, and you were able to come down here with her. Now, why did you come?
I wasn't going to make her do this alone. I wanted to be right there with her. I would have just sat at home and worried and
Again, things
wondered.
out of your control. And
Exactly,
You
I
know,
gotta-
your mind runs rampant, and you can't think what's going
and
on.
my mind never stops running rampant.
So how has the time been between the two of you now?
Oh, this is the best bonding time, I can tell you. I wouldn't want anyone else here with me.
Out of all the family,
Out of
all your
all the
friends.
family, out of all my friends, this is the person I wanted to share it with. I knew that she was going to be my rock. She always has been. She's my best friend. And I couldn't do it without her.
Well, it's nice that mother and daughter are able to be together. I remember when you showed up in orientation and you were introduced, and I've been watching the two of you since you've been here. So now she's going to have to go back to Canada.
Yeah, she
before you're actually finished with your treatment. Treatment will be finished up here in a little bit, but she's got to go back. So are you going to be all by yourself?
Absolutely not.
Now, why is that?
You guys hooked me up with the greatest group of folks. When you come here, you guys have such a support system. And when I went into that orientation and I saw all the husbands with their wives and the wives with their husbands, and I had Kayleen with me.
Your fiance's way back home.
My fiance's way back home, absolutely. And I knew that when Kayleen went home, I was still going to have that support system. The group, even though there's prostate cancer and lung cancer, there's no one here with a chordoma.
You're special.
I'm special. I was included in that group, and everyone has made me feel so welcome. In the hospital, when I go for my treatments or just to go to sign up for one of the group activities, everyone says hello and how are you today? Is there anything that you need? And everyone has made sure that I'm taken care of. Not only just with my treatment, but with my being as well. You know, it's hard, it's stressful, it's upsetting. I know that when she goes, I'm going to be upset.
You're going to be upset.
But I know that the group's here for me.
But there's going to be a support there for you. I mean, we call them family. There's a family there for you. That's
Extended
right.
family. I've shared email addresses with these folks.
Already?
Phone numbers with these folks already. And I've had phone calls to my cell phone. Do you need a ride to the meeting? Do you need somebody to go with you?
This is from former patients, I mean, current patients.
Current patients, their wives,
All right.
everyone. And I know that when she goes home, I'm not going to be alone.
No,
and
I
that's
feel very
important.
How do you feel
comfortable.
about it?
Yeah, I feel very comfortable leaving her. You know, I was a little nervous at the beginning, you know, not wanting to go home and
Leaving her all
leaving
alone.
her all alone. But now, after spending a month around all these people, you know, I know she's not alone, and I feel very comfortable going back home. And
Yeah.
Gives you a sense of peace to
It
know
does,
that
it
things are going to
does.
go well.
It sure
Yeah.
does. It sure does.
Yeah.
And that's that part where I worry about what the family is feeling. And I know that she's okay going home because she knows I'm okay. I'm taken care of.
So what about the correspondence and the phone calls going back and forth with your fiance and others? I mean, how are they handling all this?
They see the smile on my face when we Skype. And I tell them about all the activities, you know, going to the community center just to go for a swim or
You mean the Dresden Center, the Wellness Center?
the wellness center.
So have you been going over there?
Absolutely.
I need to apologize for our weather, you know,
Oh.
coming from Canada and everything. It's
Yeah.
been too warm for you. I hope you've been able to adjust to it and everything.
yeah.
I
We've
sent
adjusted.
pictures back home of us in the swimming pool, and we have 4 feet of snow at home.
there's some jealous people back home.
There are
Yeah.
jealous folks back home, and my fiance's coming here in the middle of March to be with me for
Oh,
a couple of
good.
weeks. And the one thing that he expressed was, you are going to take me to the Dresden Center and include me in all these activities. So, yes, it's so great to have it there.
So how is the family back home? Are they still pretty worried and concerned?
They're
Do they
worried.
know you're in good hands? Or are you having any communication? Are they double checking with you?
Yeah, every so often I'll get a message from Pam. How is she doing? Is she okay? You know, how's everything going over there? And
Well, we've got people looking on right now that some of them have just received some sobering news. They were just diagnosed.
Yeah.
How do you respond? You know, what can you tell them? Look into the camera over here, and what would you tell them?
The one thing that I could tell them is, don't be afraid. Relax, smile, because the folks here will treat you like royalty. They have your back. They know when you're not feeling well, and they'll ask if you need anything. It's the best support system you could have. When I first found out about my cancer, I researched where did I want to go for my proton beam. And I could have gone to Boston. I could have gone to Seattle. I prayed and prayed over this, and I asked my surgeon about where we should go. And even he said, you want to go to Loma Linda.
Oh, he did.
My optometrist, I started having double vision, and I went to my optometrist, and she said, you're going to Loma Linda? Do you know I've always wanted to go to Loma Linda
no
University?
kidding.
She said, it is the best place on earth for you to be, the best. There is no better place, and I heard this from my optometrist, from my dentist, from my surgeons,
This should
everyone.
have been an affirmation all the way along then.
If anybody is in doubt of where they need to go for their treatment, whether it's radiation, proton beam, or you just want to go and find out where the best treatment is, you want to come here
Well,
first.
I think it's interesting. You're telling these people that may have just been diagnosed to smile and to relax and to breathe deeply. And I remember when you came here to begin with, you were not really sure about all this. Is this too good to be true? I mean, will it work for me? But you've been here now and you've been able to experience it.
Oh.
The treatments take place in the gantry or the horizontal beam.
Yes.
But healing is a process, and you're describing what really is Loma Linda is known for making man whole, mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally.
Exactly.
So you've been taking part in it. What else have you done besides going to the Dresden Center?
We have gone to some tours.
Gone on some tours?
We have,
Here at the university?
here at the
Medical
university,
center?
the proton beam tour. I'm looking forward to that.
That's coming up.
Absolutely. At the Dresden Center, we have every Wednesday night, we go for group, and we have different speakers, the nutritional speakers, because you're making the whole part of me well.
That's right. We're treating not just a little tumor, we want to treat the whole person, mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally, and you're experiencing that.
Absolutely. Just through the guidance of nutrition and just the wellness, taking care of yourself, going for walks.
Even
It's
I've felt
so
it since
I've been here. Exercising.
Exactly. Kayleen has done much better.
Really?
Oh gosh, I'm so proud of her for going on these walks and going to the swimming pool, and she's been to every meeting with me.
And we need to remind her that when she leaves here, she's got to keep doing that.
Oh yes, I'm going to drag
Absolutely.
my boyfriend in on it too.
All right. No, I mean, living longer is only good if you experience quality of life, and that's what we're talking about.
Yes.
Like making some life changes, and diet, and exercise, and overall health. And
up here too.
And up, oh, very, very important part, right up here. That's right. And you're making those changes. I can see the change in your life since you've been here. I can see it in your countenance.
Everyone says how much better I look. They see the smile on my face, and they're wondering what the heck's going on here because I look so much better, and I'm only a quarter of a way through my treatment.
But you're being treated for cancer, and you're being treated for the whole person,
Yeah.
which makes all the difference in the world.
Absolutely.
And see, even family members, when they come here, they get affected by what's going on, and some of them end up picking up some habits.
And when I go home, the changes I'm going to make, I'm not going to sit there and dwell on this. I know that I've been treated in the best place possible. I know that when I go home, my tumor's not coming back. And that's the thing with chordoma. The tumors come back. When they say you have 7 to 9 years to live, I'm going to live 20.
Well, wonderful. You may live longer than that.
Even longer than that.
Nobody comes here by accident.
No.
You're supposed to be here. And when you go home, you can know that you've had the best treatment on planet Earth.
Absolutely.
Living longer is only good if you have quality of life. And for our listening audience, Christine is a wonderful example of what happens when they come face to face with a disease that they have, but realize that God's in control of their life.
Absolutely.
God's got wonderful plans for you, and for our listening audience, give God a chance.